Dear Diary. So, I always seem to start out that way, don't I? Dear Diary. So, consistency, I guess. I get into a pattern and I stay that way. Anyway, not a great deal happened today. I actually just finished watching the last episode of Revolution. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well worth watching. Um, not a great deal happened today. It was, see, if not a great deal happened, why the hell am I so tired? Well, it is, pushing 20 minutes after 11, so obviously I'm towards the end of my day. I'm a little bit tired, at least. Um, played a bit of solitaire. Oh, there was something that came to mind while I was playing solitaire earlier. Can't remember what it was. It wasn't strip solitaire. It had something to do with murder and solitaire. I don't know what it was. Must not have been that important. I was rummaging through some old files yesterday. I think it was yesterday. It might have been earlier today. And I found a story that I wrote for a writing exercise a year ago or so, with a writing group that I was in. A bunch of tea, by the way. A bunch of local friends. We had this writing group, and I think I mentioned that before, actually. Anyway, one of the writing exercises that we did, I found it, while I was, like I said, rummaging around, and I saw the title of the file name, and I was like, what the heck is that? And I opened it up, and I was like, oh, I wrote this. Okay, and sometimes it gets to that point where you've written something months or years before, and you read it, and you don't quite remember having written it. And you're like, man, that sounds really familiar. It actually happened with an ex-boyfriend of mine back when he and I were together. There was a point where he turned to me and said, just because my favorite color is blue doesn't mean I can't wear green once in a while. Maybe it was the other way around. And I was like, sounds familiar. Is that from something? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, is it from a movie? He's like, no. I'm like, what is it from? He said, you wrote it. And I'm like, oh, I know what that is. Okay. Yeah. And, but just sometimes they wind up coming back to you. But I heard that a friend of mine, Jimmy Chen, he's one of the few people that ever, with the Mystery Science Theater 3000, at the end of the credit scroll, it says keep circulating the tapes. He's one of the very few people that circulated a tape back to the source. Got it back to Joel, because they were working together on something in Southern California, and Jimmy mentioned something that happened in one of the movies, and Joel was like, was that one of mine? And he happened to have it on tape, so he brought it in and gave it to Joel, so he circulated things right back to the source, which is awesome. That's how recycling works, I think. Sort of. Maybe not. Speaking of recycling, they have a bunch of peanut shells. Probably going to try to compost them. I don't have my vermiculture tower anymore. I used to have a really nice multi-tiered vermiculture tower. And what you do is you put plant mass into the thing, and the worms crawl up through the holes in the bottom of the trays. And as the plant mass rots, they eat it, and they leave behind, compost, which you then use in your houseplants. And unfortunately, I kind of overloaded it because I kept telling the guys at EA, look, I just need a little bit of I don't need, a 5-gallon garbage bag full of stuff. My worms, I don't have that many worms. They can't eat that much. So overloaded it, and it ultimately wound up killing the worms. which was unfortunate, and I feel like a very bad druid for doing that. But um, for a while there, I was using it, and it was working really well. My Dracaena back there, the tall green plant back there by the statue of Eddie from Brutal Legend, which was one of my perks for having worked on Brutal Legend. Anyway, the Dracaena, I had bought it for my last boyfriend when he probably about halfway through our relationship, I think. And the lady that sold it to us, we got it at a nursery, said, so you'll want to repot this in about a year. That was 6 years ago. So it's probably why it's not doing very well. It really needs to be repotted very badly. I suspect the soil is probably completely spent as well. The smaller pot, this little pot right here, this one, that's my philodendron. And it was doing very poorly, but I chopped it all off, and so it's regrowing and doing much better now. So yeah. Sometimes I'm a bad druid. But yeah, aside from that, not much else going on. Just reading more of this story that I have to do the narration for. Because it's getting to a point where I've got like 4 or 5 months, I think, left to do it. So I need to get you you work fine. I need to get you guys talking to each other, and then everything will be fine. I can actually record it. But yeah, I think that's what are we at now? Just past 7 minutes. So I guess we'll just go ahead and cut it there. I really don't have much to talk about tonight for that. So I will let you guys go, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow. And tomorrow and tomorrow. Until then, be careless.